Welcome back, dear friends, to your daily dose of ancient wisdom. Today we continue the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana, Tritiya Skandha or Book 3, Discourse 33, which is Devahuthi receives the light of wisdom and attains final beatitude. Maitreya resumed. When Devahuti, the beloved spouse of sage Kardama and mother of Lord Kapila, heard the foregoing discourse of the Lord, the veil of her ignorance was torn asunder. She bowed to him, the disseminator of the knowledge of Sankhya, which throws light on the fundamental principles, and extolled him thus. Devahuti said, Brahma, the birthless creator, saw only with his mental eyes your cosmic body, pervaded by the 5 gross elements, the 10 indriyas, the 5 objects of senses, and the mind from which proceeds the stream of 3 gunas or modes of prakriti, nay, which is the seed of all and lay manifest on the waters that had submerged the universe at the time of final dissolution, and from the lotus of whose navel Brahma himself had sprung. Though actionless, you are of unfailing resolve and possessed of countless inconceivable powers and the ruler of all jivas. That is why, having partitioned your energy according to the predominance of the 3 gunas, it is you who carry on the creation, preservation, and dissolution of the universe. How then could it be that you were born in my womb, you into whose belly the whole of this universe disappears at the time of universal dissolution, and who at the end of the kalpa rests all alone on a leaf of banyan tree in the form of an infant possessing inconceivable powers and suckling its great toe? You assume a personality for the extermination of the sinful and the exhalation, O Lord, of those who abide by your commands. Just as you appear in the semblance of a boar, and so on for various other purposes, even so this descent of yours is intended for showing the world the path leading to self-realization. By occasionally hearing and chanting your names, bowing to you, or even remembering you, a pariah who feeds on the flesh of dogs becomes worthy of adoration in this very life as a brahmana who has performed a soma sacrifice, the sacrifice which brings great sanctity and extraordinary religious merits to the sacrificer. There could be no doubt then about one's attaining the object of life by your sight. Oh, how wonderful that even a pariah who cooks the flesh of dogs becomes highly venerable only because he has your name on the tip of his tongue. Nay, they who utter your name have thereby or in their previous lives practiced austere penance, poured oblations into the sacrificial fires, bathed in sacred waters, conducted themselves well, and even recited the Vedas. In the form of Kapila, my son, you are no other than the Supreme Reality, the highest person who could be really and rightly conceived only in the mind that has been turned inward, and who brings to an end the stream of the 3 gunas in the shape of transmigration by his own effulgence. You are Lord Vishnu himself, the source of Vedas. I bow to you. Maitreya went on. Thus praised by Devahuti, the Supreme Person bearing the name of Lord Kapila, who was full of filial affection, spoke to his mother in unflattering accents. Lord Kapila said, By following the easy path pointed out by me, O mother, you will attain before long to the supreme goal in the shape of final beatitude. Have faith in this doctrine of mine, which has been followed even by the exponents of Veda, so that you may attain to my birthless state. Those who are ignorant of this go through the process of birth and death again and again. Maitreya continued, having thus shown to his mother the noble way of self-realization, and permitted by her, who now declared that all was Brahma, Lord Kapila went his way. She too applied herself to the practice of yoga according to the process of meditation taught by her son in that hermitage, and stood like a datum of flowers on the head of Saraswati and attained peace of mind. The curly locks she wore on her head turned down on account of ablutions performed thrice a day and became matted, while her body, which was clad in rags, grew emaciated as a result of severe penance. She renounced her incomparable house, which had been enriched by the austere penance and yogic power of sage Kardama, a lord of created beings, and was coveted even by the gods, furnished as it was with beds of ivory, soft and white as foam of milk, and adorned with gold, and seats of gold provided with cushions exceedingly soft to the touch. In the walls of that house, which were made of transparent crystal and precious emerald, shone lights of jewels borne by beautiful statues of women. She also deserted the garden attached to her house, charming with its many blossoming celestial trees, cooing pairs of birds, and humming bees drunk with honey. When she used to enter the pond in that garden, the water of which was scented with the fragrance of lotuses, along with Kardama, she bestowed his loving attention to her. Gandharvas and Kinnaras, the attendants of gods, sang her praises. Although she felt no compunction while leaving that garden, which was most eagerly sought after even by the spouses of Indra, the lord of paradise, Devahuthi did wear a desolate look on her face, afflicted as she was at the separation from her son. She had somehow consoled herself by the presence of her son when her husband, the sage Kardama, retired to the forest. But she felt very disconsolate in spite of her having realized the truth at the separation from her son, Lord Kapila, even as a cow who is extremely fond of her calf is grieved at the loss of the latter. Fixing her thought exclusively on her son, the divine Kapila, who was no other than Srihari, she soon grew indifferent, my son, even to such a house as has been described above. She now meditated on the form of the Lord, adorned with a cheerful countenance, and spoke of by her son as worth meditating upon, fixing her thought on the same as a whole as well as in parts. With a mind thoroughly departed by the uninterrupted practice of devotion, most intense dissipation and spiritual enlightenment leading to Brahmahood, oneness with Brahma, and resulting from a due performance of one's duties, she then contemplated on her own self as projected everywhere, having set aside by the realization of its true nature the limitations imposed on it by the modes of Prakriti. Her mind being now settled in Brahma, the substratum of all jivas, who is no other than the Lord, she no more thought of herself as a jiva and was accordingly rid of all affections and attained the final beatitude. Firmly established in perpetual samadhi or deep meditation, her misapprehension about the reality of the sense objects now disappeared, and she was no more conscious of her body than the man arisen from the sleep remembers the body seen in the dream. Her body, though nourished by others, the Vidyadhara damsels summoned and locked in the hermitage by her husband to look after her, did not grow lean because there was no mental agony. Though covered with layers of dirt, it shone through it like fire enveloped in a mass of smoke. Her mind being fully merged into Lord Vasudeva, she did not perceive her own body, which was completely given up to the austerity and yoga, and was being maintained by the providence even when her hair got loose and her clothes fell off from her body. In this way, by following the path pointed out by Lord Kapila, she attained before long the abode of the Lord, who is eternally free and is no other than the Supreme Spirit of the Brahma. The most sacred spot where she attained the final beatitude, O valiant Vidura, was known all over the three worlds by the name of Siddhapada. Her mortal frame, which had been purged through yoga of all its dross, was transformed into a river which ranks foremost among all streams. O gentle Vidura, confers the highest blessing on those who bathe in it, and is frequently resorted to by the Siddhas. Having taken leave of his mother Devahuti, Lord Kapila, the great yogi, proceeded towards the northeast from the hermitage of his father. Duly worshipped and offered an abode by the ocean himself, he continues even to this day in perfect peace of mind, absorbed in deep meditation for the good of all the three worlds, and is ever being extolled by the Siddhas, Kinnaras, Gandharvas, and the sages, as well as by hosts of Apsaras, and praised by the teachers of Sankhya or Asuri and other occult interests. I have thus narrated to you, dear and sinless Vidura, what you had asked me, namely the holy dialogue between Lord Kapila and Devahuti, his mother. He who listens to, and similarly he who expounds his teaching of the divine sage Kapila, which is the most sacred of all doctrines teaching the ways and means of God realization, is able to fix his mind on Lord Vishnu, who bears on his banner an emblem of Garuda, the king of birds, and attains proximity to Lord's feet. Thus ends the 33rd discourse, forming part of the story of Lord Kapila in Book 3 of the great and glorious Bhagavata Purana, otherwise known as Paramahamsa Samhita, written by sage Vedavyasa and consisting of 18,000 slokas. Thank you.